Think you've found the perfect place to move? You gotta think again. From the cultural history of Madison, Wisconsin, to its collegiate feel, and the surprising transit accessibility of Greensboro, North Carolina, not to mention the affordability of housing. This video, I'm going to be tackling underrated cities that you got to consider before you make that move. And here's the kicker.
Wait, there's more.
Not all of these cities are going to have what I know you want as an urban dweller, great transit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in those areas, find relatively good transit for you so you can make that great decision on some of these kind of underrated underdog cities. Well, random YouTube viewer David, the old Reno, yes, probably was very sketch. But I can't see a resident just standing around and paying $660K. Yes, that is thousands, $660K for a two-bedroom home on Tahoe. That's 745 Tahoe in Reno's Midtown neighborhood. That is what I'm going to be focusing on here for Reno. Now, you're going to have to wait all the way to the end, folks, before we continue with Reno. I got to keep you watching the video, right? But I'm going to randomly move around 2 through 10. This happens to be number 10, Reno, in Midtown neighborhood, $660K. This is a two-bedroom home with an unfinished basement. So you really can't be sticking around, David. So you're going to have to get some new information. Reno is growing. Of course, there's always going to be that casino life, that culture of casino life, but it's move above and beyond that into the tech space to entrepreneurial startups, and a pool of talent with Reno, University of Nevada at Reno. So Reno has really diversified its economy from the casino industry. So it's actually it's really interesting. One of these 10, I want to say it's number one as far as growth per the census from 2010 all the way to the latest census of 2023. Nearly 50,000 new residents. I mean, that is incredible, equating to about 18% increase. So over these now 13, 14 years. Median pricing here, 600,000, and right in line with the median pricing, it is 600,000 for a two-bedroom. This is on Tahoe. And I picked Tahoe. Yes, it is closer to the downtown Reno. You were probably going to be living in the greater Reno, but you've got to the east, you have Sparks. You, of course, have the backdrop of Lake Tahoe, so there's always going to be tourism there. It's just never going to go away. But this 745 Tahoe, two-bedroom, there is an unfinished basement. You've got the museum, Nevada Modern Museum, the Automotive Museum. You want to be relatively close to kind of where the action is River Walk District, the Truckee River. So that's where where you want to be. It's not really that far. Great biking, great walking. This is one of those cities that transit really, I mean, lack of a better word, sucks. Will the planners, as the population grows, are they going to fall in the same traps as many other cities and focus on the car culture? Hopefully not. But Reno here at number 10 is one of the cities to watch. It's kind of that great alternative to Las Vegas. So I hope I don't offend anyone with this next selection here. There's not really much to do. You are moving to Davenport, Iowa, for the cost of living, right? Again, no offense. But Davenport, you really can't speak of it in the singular sense. It's part of the Quad Cities, right? On the Illinois side, you have Rock Island and Moline. On the Iowa side, you have Bettendorf and Davenport. So those quad really makes it strong. They're better as a quad versus a singular Davenport. You have industries here, the agricultural powerhouse John Deere for manufacturing of the equipment, agricultural equipment. You have defense with the Rock Island Arsenal, and healthcare. Healthcare is very strong, as you can see here on this graphic. So three main industries. Unemployment was a little bit higher than a lot of the other underrated cities at 4.8, the latest information from the folks over at BLS, that is Bureau of Labor Statistics. And the property I found, going back to that cost of living, I mean, housing is extremely, extremely affordable. So if you do happen to have a family, you You want that urban, and this is where it's just going to be kind of this push and pull, folks, right? If you happen to be a single professional, you're probably not going to be moving to Davenport. But if you have a family, you'll probably want, and you want more of a small town feel. You can live close enough to the downtown of Davenport. It may benefit you. So you see this home, median pricing, 179,000. This particular home, 6-bedroom on 11th Street for 177K. Sold, right? This isn't listed. This is a sold property. So that cost of living, you have some charming areas in the downtown. That is kind of why you may gravitate towards Davenport, Iowa. From a migration perspective, it is basically flat. If you're looking at the historical trending from 2010 census to the latest 2023, slight increase migration in, but we're talking what? I mean, from the last one, negative 1.3. And so there isn't really a lot of folks coming in there, but there are industries to support. So it's not crazy demand. So you can probably come in there, and if you've got a job or you're transferring, you should probably easily be able to get a job, but it's not crazy in demand city. The largest city on my list is Pittsburgh, right? Super underrated with an unemployment rate of 3%. Very diverse economy as far as industries. I mean, life sciences. It's not just a steel city, and any remaining steel companies like Western Pennsylvania Steel is focusing more on clean climate. Multiple industries, 3% unemployment. Population-wise, from the census, now I have the metro area. The city, I believe, was 300,000, and also was basically like the Allegheny County, was also basically flat. But 3% unemployment for 1.2 metro is excellent. You would think it would be higher. And I'm really interested, and I hope you would be interested and intrigued as an urban dweller about Pittsburgh, because on a percent basis, a lot of these cities I have in this list, I had like 70, 80% as far as the primary mode to get to work, being the car or carpooling. Here, 14%. 14%, the highest percentage using public transit, because Pittsburgh has very good transit, on par with its sister city, Philadelphia. Not as good, but it's got that transit. And look at the median home pricing, folks. I can't believe this. Under 240K, all types. Now, living in a city, you probably have higher HOAs, housing-wise, but relatively good cost of living, great transit. I would put this, it isn't number one on this list, but I would put this almost close to one if you're looking for that urban lifestyle, to be able to live there. Not a big fan of the Pirates because, as you know, right, Cubs fan? But Pittsburgh should be on your list with that great transit.
If I've been serving that almighty YouTube algorithm god properly,
Algorithms!
You, the viewer, is looking for a relocation, specifically an urban relocation. Therefore, you're really going to need a trusted advocate. You probably know what creature comforts you want, but you need that trusted advocate to find you the right place, neighborhood, and city. So, what I have here is the agent referral questionnaire. It's very simple. Answer a couple of quick questions, and let's schedule a time and date convenient for you to have a very quick discussion to kind of see where your wants and needs are. And then through my extensive network of referral partners through just about every place in our wonderful land of liberty, I can find you that realtor. It all starts, however, with that conversation. So I'm going to have it also linked below on the video that you're watching, and I can't wait to help you find a great agent so you can have a perfect urban relocation.
The lowest unemployment in this list, and one of the lowest in the nation, you have the University of Wisconsin as its backdrop. 5 main industries providing a very diverse economy. Yes, it's Madison, routinely on one of the best places to live for the mid-sized city, and all that is equating to a very hot housing market. And I also find it very interesting here that with the transportation mode, while of course, car is going to dominate just about all of these cities, there's a significant amount of work from home. And if you add work from home along with biking and walking, and public transportation. They have a bus line, not much of a robust rail yet. That may come in the future. That's equating for nearly 35%, a little more than 35% of the overall mode of transportation. So a lot of really good positives here with Madison. Just a wonderful community you can live. It's a collegiate town, so you get that college feel, and with that low employment. Now, housing-wise, right? That's why it's over 400,000 is the median price in the home I found here on Wilson. 600,000. I mean, gorgeous home, 2-bedroom, closer to the downtown Madison area. I'm sure if you expand out, but then again, there's that kind of trade-offs of you lose the walking and the biking. They're very, very good walking and biking. That's why I picked this, and I picked most of the sold properties that I picked, folks, right? Really good walking and biking, transit, room for improvement, but Madison's got to be on your list. Of course, the weather. It's Wisconsin, right? At least it's not Green Bay. But yeah, no, definitely Madison, diverse economy, everything going for it. But that's going to really, you're going to have to devote more of your income towards housing in Madison. So located about 55 miles northwest of Charlotte, we have our next city, Hickory. I've never heard of Hickory, right? It's a town of about 44,000. It's up about a little more than 4,000 from the 2010 census, 3.1% unemployment rate. But this city's claim to fame and why it's making this list is actually Biden.
Thanks, Mr. Biden.
Former President Biden, infrastructure bill enabled some federal dollars to go into the city, and it is the nation's leading fiber optic production hub with the likes of Corning, right? Corning handling a majority of the fiber optic production, and with that investment, companies like AT&T, the telecoms, are going to come in, use those federal dollars to expand out, right? Because broadband for all, that's the plan. I don't know what's going to happen now with Trump, and actually the irony is this that area, the county, probably voted for Trump. I don't have the figures. You guys can fact check me if that's true or not. But that's why this made this list. So it does have several 7 to 8 industries, but the main component, 2,500 jobs to be exact, came in on the fiber optic side. In the past, it was had timber because of its location with rail and natural timber. It was timber and textiles and furniture production, but obviously times have changed. You got to keep up with the times. It's not the 18th century anymore. So Hickory made this list, and housing-wise, not bad. 270 median, 270K, and I found a property 4-bedroom, 230, so very good cost of living. But I imagine because of that fiber optic production, that's probably going to attract more people. Could attract someone like you. Now, right? The flip side, job is great, the economy is good. It's a smaller town, but you're just not horrible transit. So you're going to have to live in the city proper of Hickory by Union Square in order to get that kind of the amenities, the convenience factor. Otherwise, it's car dependent, just like a lot of Carolina. And actually, I'm going to be doing a video about that in the upcoming future. Greensboro. We're going back to back with the tobacco state. Greensboro, North Carolina. So there are 3 main industries: the healthcare, education, and transportation. Unemployment is around 4% with the latest BLS released statistics. Bike and transit, very similar to Hickory, not the best. There is the Greensboro Transit Authority, so there's some accessibility to transit via the bus. But 20s overall for the city. Now, when you go into this property that I was able to find, this old property here on Fisher, which is above and beyond the median pricing, home pricing, which I'll mention in a bit, $659,000 for this home, then things elevate, right? Closer to the downtown of Greensboro, and you're elevated in the 50s and 70s for 2 facets of the urbanism, right? Biking, walking, and public transportation. So decent unemployment. The population, which is I find very interesting, it's also why I made this list, from the 2010 to the 2023 census almost 33,000, influx of residents. So it is a migration in city. Just about anywhere in North Carolina is just dominating. Raleigh, Charlotte, the bigger cities, Raleigh and Charlotte are dominating with, of course, the Research Triangle. But I think some of that spillover is coming into the city I mentioned earlier with Hickory with the fiber optics, and then Greensboro with their three-headed industries. So again, the only problem is the public infrastructure. So you're going to need the car if you want kind of a quieter life versus the hustle and bustle of Charlotte and Raleigh. But this is Greensboro. This city, I imagine, is never really going to have a high, quote unquote, high unemployment rate because it's dominated. It has the defense industry in its backyard because of its strategic location. This is Virginia Beach, Virginia. Because of its strategic location, defense dominates as one of the top industries here. Unemployment under 3%. And population, while it was basically flat from 23 to 2020, if you look at the longer trend, the 14-year from 2010 census, it's close to almost 20,000 more residents, influx of residents. You want to be downtown. The town center is kind of where the action is at, and that's where you have this address I have here, 222 Central Park Avenue is kind of that very close to that town center. And not that far away, the property I found over on Palm, 420,000, very nice home. Median home prices here in Virginia Beach are around $375K, right? So relatively affordable. You do have that bike. The weather is fairly good. You have the bike and walking. You're closer to that downtown. Transit, again, last several properties, and I've mentioned from the beginning, transit's not going to be the best. But if you're closer to that downtown area, you have more opportunity for, in this case, would be bus. But Virginia Beach does make that list because of the defense industry. So very, very strong economy there. And if that's what you're doing, or you happen to be, thank you for your service, if you happen to be a past veteran, I imagine this would be on your list of relocating for some really good defense jobs in Virginia Beach. Huntsville is that sneaky one you just don't really think about. When you're thinking about the southern states, you think about Atlanta, right? But Huntsville is really, really creeping up. 45,000 almost from 2010 to 2023 census data. 2.6 unemployment. You have tech, defense, and of course aerospace is big, along with Walmart, which technically, well, let me back up. No, that's a mistake. Sorry. Walmart is Bentonville. It's another city. But those are the three there, the tech space, aerospace, and defense. Relatively affordable housing. Median sales pricing is $332K. Somewhere around the Clinton Street, where I found a property with good with good biking and walking. Transit, of course. As the city grows, I imagine they'll be address the transit concerns. There is bus service, but no rail. But Huntsville there, if you want kind of a simpler life, historic charm, you don't need that hustle and bustle, but you don't want the big city. Huntsville should be on your list, particularly if you're in those three industries. Remember, tech, aerospace, and defense. With a 2.6 unemployment, I mean, you can't go wrong with Huntsville. So we're down to the last two, and okay, I lied to you. I said I was going to mix it up, but hopefully you're still watching, and thank you if you're still watching my video here, Underrated Cities, that you need to consider before everyone else does. I went in chronological order, right? 10 to 1. But number 2 is also a surprising city, Post Falls, Idaho, very similar to like Hickory. I've never heard of this city, but it has proximity to Spokane, Washington. It's very close to the Washington-Idaho border, and I don't know how to pronounce it. But both very popular, and fortunate or unfortunate, depending on, I guess, what side of the aisle you're on. A lot of people from California, there's a spillover, going from Boise. That spillover is heading over to this area close to the Washington, Idaho border. So that's where it's really strong economy wise because it draws for those pool very close to both of those other larger cities. And it's probably reflecting the home prices because of that demand that spill over from the other Idaho cities. And of course, just people wanting, instead of living in Spokane and that other city I can't pronounce, they're living in Post Falls. 535K was the median pricing. I did find a home here, 390, pretty cute home. And of course, there's not, even though they say here in my research that there's free bus service, I don't think many people are using the bus. So you have to really, again, be in that downtown, quote unquote, of Post Falls to be able to take advantage of any type of transit. And then, of course, biking. There's beautiful nature there in Idaho, so you're going to get the biking and great walking. Really good unemployment and several industries, as you can see here from this graphic. So this is Post Falls. Now, drumroll now, let's go to number one. Number one, home to Colorado State University, Fort Collins. Fort Collins, Colorado. I mean, Colorado overall is dominating a lot of the best cities to live economy-wise. Denver's right up there. Colorado Springs and Fort Collins should be in the conversation. So you have that deep pool, talent pool from Colorado State pulling from that. A lot of the employers there can pull. There's entrepreneurial startups. There's a huge tech hub, very diversified from an industry perspective. Unemployment is always going to be relatively low. You have, and all of that is resulting in housing prices, right, that continue to escalate. 558K median price. Anywhere by this College Park Avenue, which has some access to the CSU campus and downtown. Look at those walk and bike. I mean, 100%. And 93, it's nirvana. Transit will get there, right? They do have the bus service because also you have also a lot of the students there that can't afford the car. And a property I found here on Columbia, so not that far away, a little north of College Park. So you can move away from that big city life of Denver and have relatively calm. I can't really say in a lot of these lists, on here are only a couple that are actually have cost of living. I mean, overall, everything, because of inflationary pressure, a lot of stuff was expensive, and housing, including housing, right? And that's because of that imbalance of inventory supply versus demand. And of course, as interest rates continue to go down into 2025, I'm hearing up to 6 potential rate cuts. It's going to get even more expensive. So I would actually, with this number one city, you need someone, reach out to me, as I've said earlier, write that questionnaire, fill out that questionnaire. I can find you a top agent in Fort Collins or Huntsville or even Post Falls. So this has been Fort Collins, the number one underrated city. Got to consider now before everyone else does.